Let's go with the granny wagon. Is that a Supra? Who did it? Come on! Dead white!
Hello everybody. This is going to be a big long multi-part video because we're going to be doing this. If you are not aware, I threw a rod in the Grom and I reverted it back to stock because the engine is trash, and I'm going to sell off all the aftermarket intake, cam, etc, blah blah blah, the fuel tuner, everything. So the only thing I didn't film is taking the plastics off. And I'm not going to put them back on just to show you how to take them off. Just take your seat off and start looking for every bolt and pull off every bolt until you get all the plastics off. I've removed everything and put all the bolts back in their spots. The only plastics I haven't removed is the under tray here, but I put everything back. The only thing I still have on here that we might have to get into is this up here, and that's because it's, take the plastics off, everything just dangles. So what we've got is this right here. This is a 2016 CBR 300R engine, gearbox, got the controls, got the wiring harness down there, radiator, etc. Going through wicked Grom for almost everything. Wonderful service, great products. There's our bracket in there. I'm still waiting on the injector elbow to relocate the injector, throttle body, and wiring harness, adapter kit, and a couple other odds and ends. Some things we are going to be getting rid of is some emission stuff. There's a block off plate for this. I want to get rid of as much of this emissions nonsense that we don't need, blah blah blah. So what we're going to start doing now is taking the harness and engine out of this. I'm not going to film every single thing I do. What I did when I took the harness and everything off this bike, as you can see here, as I unplugged stuff, I tagged everything that it came off. I tagged where it plugged in, and I tagged where it unplugged. So every single thing has like 2 connectors. So like that says throttle body, so I know where that goes. And this is radiator fan, so I know where that goes. And that's our O2 sensor, and this will be our ignition, fuel pump, etc. Okay, so let's just start going through here. And of course I have an aftermarket tail light, so yours should unhook pretty quickly. So all we're going to do is start dismantling and unplugging everything. So as you go through the bike and take off the harness, we need everything off this harness except for like our lights. I'm actually hoping I can reuse my Grom controls. They look identical to the CBR controls. Like that's the left-hand control, as you can see here. It looks identical, and the throttle and everything, it looks identical. So I'm kind of hoping we can reuse most of this. I know we might be using this clutch cable. I don't think the clutch cable will work for the Grom. It's really tight from it's really tight from what I understand, but this 300 cable should work. That's pretty much it. Start disconnecting stuff, tag things as you take them off so you know where they go. And like I said, I'm not going to film as I disconnect all of these things. You just need to be meticulous about it if you have a bad memory like I do, so you remember where everything goes, especially if your engine is still good. I'm not going to tag any of this harness as I disconnect it because the engine's shot. There's nothing in it. It's going to be a donation to the god of speed, and I'm going to use it as a paperweight to maybe take parts off and make little trinkets or whatever out of it. I don't know. Don't care. It's irrelevant. There we go. So I'm going to get off now. We'll come back as I get some of this crap unbolted, unclipped, and taken off. Well, update, we're mostly done Most of the tail light and rear wire plugs were all here, and we've got to take off all of our grounding plugs, wires that were bolted in here. That's our brake sensor that was down in here with a spring, battery wires, fuses. That was all pretty straightforward. Here I unbolted these two 10mm, took this off. That's where the fuel pump wire was, got that out. This is all of the emissions nonsense that I don't need in Arkansas. Computer was here, and your main engine harness plugs were all here. I've just pulled all that out. Looks like it goes between the engine and the frame here, so we might have to drop the engine before we can finish getting this off easily enough. The only other problems I really had, and let's go over this real quick too, and I did tag some things because some of these were important. I don't know why I would ever need them, but I did anyway because I'm weird. These quick connects on the fuel line to disconnect these, and we need these. I have them for my donor, but I want to keep all these extra parts anyway just in case. These are super easy to work. There's a little clip here that you push down, and then you just push this in, and that disconnects. I left it connected to the tank temporarily, disconnected it from the injector. I did have to take the headlight off, and I took the dash off real quick. There was one plug from the dash. This is the mess. I need to take my blinkers off that you see dangling there. And I think I'm gonna need that relay that I had to put on here for LEDs. So I'm probably gonna take all that off as well, just so I have it. Or I'm probably gonna keep the harness in here and take what I need if I need something. This were just all of our controls. This was the dash cable that I took the dash off to get to. See that really nice little rubber grommet on there. So I took the dash off so I could unplug that. I put all that back. These wires here you won't have. These are for my AFR that I had on there. I think that's everything, and we're pretty much ready to come out now. I think this is mostly loose. There's a couple things over here that we need to get to, like the rectifier or whatever you want to call it there. And there's some other odds and ends here from the coil pack, and that's our air temperature sensor. That's what that was. It goes into the intake, which will come off the harness. I can feel it up under the tank. So I'm probably gonna have to pull this thing out and get off and get this other stuff off, and I need it out anyway to get the engine out. Other things I'm gonna do real quick off camera because they're not a big deal. I am gonna take the chain off. I don't remember where the master link is, but I put this on here when I stretched it like a fool. There it is, right there. We will not be using this chain anymore. We're upgrading chain and sprockets. So I'm gonna pull this sprocket cover off real quick, take the chain off. Probably actually don't need to take the sprocket cover off to take the chain off. I'll pull the master link and pull the chain out and just leave everything there. We do need to disconnect our shift linkage. I don't know. There it is. I'm probably gonna leave that part of the lever on. Might take it off, don't know yet. Yeah, I'm just gonna take it off at the shaft. And I think that's it. I need to take this bracket off that helps hold my cowling on that I've already removed. The rest of this should come off pretty quick. As you can see, all the rest of this stuff is just dangling here. All of this is loose. I can actually pull it all the way off like that. And, ooh, is that one we missed? No. Okay. So yeah. Anyway, I did leave the whole, I literally left everything the way it was because when I put all this on there, I'm terrified I'm gonna mess something up and it's not gonna run right. So I'm kind of being a little paranoid about it, but Actually, we don't even need to unplug the rectifier and stuff. I left all this bolted on and together. I can probably just remove all that, but that's where we're at. This is the pretty easy part. With all this off of here now and out of the way. Oh, we are gonna take the sprocket cover off so we can get to the rear bolts. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna take off this sprocket cover, get the chain out of the way, and I'm gonna pull this thing out and get this off. I gotta unplug these cylinder head temperature sensors and the coil pack, and I've got to finish getting all of this stuff off of there. And yeah, the coil pack is good for either bike. Like I said, I'm trying to keep everything as together as I can, so I'll probably take off that coil pack and everything and just leave it in the harness along with the plug wire, because we do need this from the Grom or from your donor. If we end up using any of this coil pack and stuff, you do need to make sure that you have the boot, and you can just unscrew it from the plug wire on your donor. You need it for this because the plug is all the way down here. It's not visible and easy to get to. So we can start. Oh, this was the AFR. That's why you don't need that. That's from my AFR gauge. So most of this stuff should be pretty easy. Oh, that's the O2 sensor. That's what that one is. So most of this should be pretty easy for you to get to. Not too big of a deal. Disconnect this stuff. There's your O2 sensor off. That's off. That's just slid on there. This is where I'm gonna hurt myself trying to one hand all this. So there's that. That plugs in the bottom of there. That's a harness. So yeah, we're pretty much ready to come off. So for the 15th time, I'm gonna remove sprocket cover, take the chain off. I'm gonna pull this thing out and get the engine off. When it started, it went quick. So let's go over this real fast. So one thing that I couldn't get to very easily were these clips under here and up under here where the wiring harness was. This was all for the starter, and the main wiring harness ran along the backbone. So the starter was right on top, super easy to get to. After I dropped it down, a couple more 10 millimeters, pull the harness off. Right here, these were from the starter. It was really easy to get them off, and then as soon as the harness came out, it was easy. So these big motor mounts, there was just 3 of them. They were all 14 millimeter. They broke loose easy enough. The only problem you're gonna have is this bottom one that goes down here. To get that off, what I did was took out the bottom bolt from this rear set and loosen the main one. Okay, I made it super loose so I don't ever forget to retighten it, and I just leaned, for fuck's sake, I leaned the peg as far forward this way as I could. That way I didn't have to take out that swing arm bolt because I didn't want to take that out. I leaned it forward all the way and the bolt came out. Same with the shift linkage, came off the shaft easy enough. I'm actually gonna put that bolt back in right now. I don't know if we can use that on the other engine or not. We'll find out. But I'm putting all my bolts back in where I know they need to go so I don't lose track and have too much stuff. This came off. I honestly don't know where that was. I wrestled the engine off the jack and that popped out. Don't really know where that came from. Not too terribly concerned about it. I'm gonna put this foot peg bolt back in loosely as well. Now I have no loose bolts or no loose nuts. So that was pretty much it. The engine came out easy enough. It's super light. I mean, anybody could pick this thing up. My female could pick this thing up. I could probably pick it up by the throttle body. Yeah, it weighs nothing. Like when you look at it laying like this, and you see how small it really is. I mean, that's my foot, and I'm a little guy. So it's all gearbox. It's all gearbox. But that's the engine out of the Grom and the harness along with all of its nonsense. Okay. So the next thing we're gonna do, and the reason why I decided to do all this, is I wanted to at least hang this under the bike. So it's off the ground, out of the way. I ride my 650 all the time. This gets in the way. I want to at least get it hung up in there so it's out of my way. And that's what all that is. So I might do it tonight, might end up doing it tomorrow. It's irrelevant because I'm leaving the country for 2 weeks in 2 days. So I doubt I'll get to that. This is kind of a long-term project I'm working on to do this. But this will be the first part to the swap. And as you can see, I got the chain off and everything like I talked about. So the little old Grom, what's left of him, not too heavy. Oh, gotta put this back on there. I don't want to lose track of anything for this because I'm a psychopath. I could probably just throw this away, engine and all, but I don't want to do that. I like keeping everything with itself as much as I can. I habitually save literally everything. So that will be it for this. Oh my god, I can't do that one-handed. That will be it for this first part of the Grom swap, and come back hopefully and get the engine mounted in. And I'll probably, I'm not guaranteed, fuck it. I don't know if I'm gonna hang the harness up underneath it or not. I probably won't, and if I have to take a bolt out to swing that down a little bit, I will. But like I said, this is too much crap laying on the ground, tripping over it and in the way. And I want to get it mobile so I can move it around in here when I need to, if I need to work on this, and I need to finish pulling the transmission out of that I broke. So anyway, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Come on, boss! Come on! Yeah!